8 a.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. New York time, and let's just, I see there's still people streaming in. Let me just give it another 2 or 3 minutes before we get going. Today I'm sure you all know that, Peter, midnight in Brisbane. So we've got some visitors from Australia, yeah, all over the world. It's, you know, sometimes I just think of technology and I'm just absolutely amazed. Although being a technical person myself, I'm just amazed, you know, that we can get everybody from all over the world literally around a table listening to each other and looking at each other's screens. Some very smart people out there doing this stuff for us. Okay, so chit-chat aside, let me get going with the presentation. It's actually going to be a very short presentation today, just a few minutes and not too long. And I'm actually alone in the room today answering questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the questions kind of towards the end of the presentation, because it's difficult for me to monitor the questions as well as actually concentrate on what I'm actually trying to tell all of you. So yeah, let's get going. Let me just start the recording. All right, the recording started. Hello everybody, welcome to today's presentation. We're focusing on the Autochartist messaging and alerts section, which are basically our email alerts. So it's going to be a very short presentation today, quickly running you through how to set up your email messaging and go through a little bit of the content of the emails themselves. So you can probably see my screen now, and I have the Autochartist application open. And some of you, of course, get into the Autochartist application in many different ways. Some of you get in directly through the website. Some of you get in through your broker. Some of you get in through MT4 platform, whatever it is. So whichever way you get in is irrelevant, but get into that Autochartist platform, and you'll see a new section in the Autochartist platform called Messaging and Alerts. Let me highlight that for you. And what you need to do is you need to click on Messaging and Alerts, and basically a new section will be shown to you. So now I've got some alerts set up. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unselect all my previous selections so that I can actually walk you through how to actually get some of these alerts. Let me give you some background about this feature. Obviously, one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest, I guess, issues with regards to getting access to researchers or the Autochartist platform itself is actually getting into the platform, right? And so many of our users find it quite tedious to wake up every morning and log into the platform. And so oh, thank you for that, John. I'll actually talk a bit louder. Sorry about that, everybody. I'll talk a little bit louder now. I hope that's better. Okay, so many of our users actually struggle to get into the platform every morning, and they find it quite tedious to get the research through Autochartist. So what we've tried to be thinking about at Autochartist is different ways of getting into the platform. One of the ways that we obviously provide you to get into the platform is through a plugin through MT4 or through the broker's websites. But now we've taken it to the next level, where we actually provide you with the ability to subscribe to email alerts directly from inside the Autochartist platform. And that means that all you need to do is get into the Autochartist platform once, set up your email alerts, and you'll be getting emails in your inbox. I'll also give you a little bit of background with regards to previous experiences we had with email messaging. Many years ago, we actually had an email alerts mechanism built into Autochartist. And very quickly, probably about 2 or 3 weeks after launching the service, we switched it off, because we found that it was really irritating people in the fact that Autochartist would send an alert every single time there was a trading opportunity. It would send an email, and it wouldn't have any concept of time or when you're logged into your platform. So it would send alerts through the night, and then you'd wake up in the morning, you'd have like 200 emails sitting in your inbox, and people actually started complaining about it, and we got listed as spam on many mail servers, so it was a complete disaster, and many lessons learned. So now we've taken a completely different stance on our messaging feature within Autochartist. Now we have what we call these pre-built market reports. Obviously, when you click on this messaging and alert section in Autochartist, for different brokers you will have different access to different types of market reports. Sometimes if the broker supports exchanges or exchange-traded instruments across the world, you'd have access to many more reports. With other brokers, they only support foreign currencies, in which case you'd only have access to subscribe to a Forex report. You know, if of course there's a report that you would like that of instruments that your broker does support, and we don't offer a report dedicated to that, please drop us an email to support@autochartist.com, and we'll see what we can do to get a custom report configured for you. Having said that, what we do now is, as you can see on my platform, I have 3 different types of reports available to me. I have a foreign currency report, an FX report, a report for New York Stock Exchange, and a report for the London Stock Exchange. And I see that my Skype is not set to do not disturb, so I'm going to set my Skype to do not disturb. Sorry about that, everybody. So now what I'm going to do is I want to subscribe, as an example, to show you how to subscribe to the FX report. All I do is click on this checkbox. And once I click on the checkbox, I can actually, a number of options come up. Firstly, I can see what session I want to get emailed in, right? So most reports are available 3 times per day. For example, FX, foreign currencies are a 24-hour market, right? So the market looks differently and behaves differently for different times of day. So now I'm in the US, right? I live in Austin, Texas, so I subscribe to the US session report, which means that I get this report probably at around 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just before the US markets actually open. If you're in Europe or in London or anywhere in Europe, you should subscribe to the European session, which means that you would get your report just before the European markets open. Okay, so just before the London opening, probably about 45 minutes to an hour before the London opening, you would get your emails. And if you're in the Asian session, you should probably, or if you're in Asia, Asia Pacific, Australia, Japan, China, Singapore, you should subscribe to the Asian session, which means you'll get your report about a half hour to 45 minutes before Australia opens. Now, what these reports actually contain, well, actually, they contain a snapshot of what Autochartist thinks of the market, but I'll actually run you through the contents of the report itself. Okay, so again, let me highlight that. When you select the report that you want, select the session that you want. Now, obviously, nothing is stopping you for selecting multiple sessions. I know some traders which never sleep. They subscribe to the US session report and the European session report, right? So you can do that, and you'll get 2 emails a day from Autochartist. Now, the next thing you can see, what you can do is you can actually subscribe to the report in the language of your choice. Right? I am English speaking, so obviously I subscribe to the English report. You go ahead and subscribe to the report that you want. Now, obviously, our primary language at Autochartist is English, right? So if you do find you subscribe to reports in a different language and you find there are any translation errors, please go ahead and just let us know. support@autochartist.com. We'd appreciate your help in actually getting those reports more proficient in those languages. We use a lot of Google Translate. We use a lot of external parties, but sometimes it's difficult to get it exactly right. But please go ahead and let us know if there are any translation issues. So as you can see, what I've done here now is I have actually selected the US session, the English report in English, and I've put in my email address at the bottom, ilan@autochartist.com, and I can click the save button. But I don't only have to do that, right? I can subscribe to the New York Stock Exchange report and select US session and English, right? And I can subscribe to the London Stock Exchange report, and I want that well, I subscribe to it in the Asian session. I'll explain why in just a second, in English. Now, it's very interesting if you are going to subscribe to any exchange reports, right? New York Stock Exchange report, London Stock Exchange report. In different regions, we have different reports, right? So sometimes you'll have the ability to subscribe to a Korean exchange report or Australia report, depending on the broker that you're with. Those reports actually only are available once a day, really, because if you think about it, let's take London for example, right? London markets only open for around 8 hours in the day, right? They open at the beginning of the London session, they close at the end of the London session. So if you subscribe to a report which is, let's say, in the US session for the London stock market, you're not going to get anything different from if you subscribe to the European session report. The reason why I actually subscribe to the Asian session report is because I want to get it as early as possible after the London close. All right, so I don't really want to wait until I get just before the European sessions open. I want to get at Asian sessions because sometimes in the US, because I'm in the US, if I'm up late at night, let's say 9 or 10 at night, I would actually get my London stock market report before I actually get to bed. So this is just, you know, me deciding with regards to my lifestyle on which report I actually want to read. But for example, my subscription to the New York Stock Exchange report, I just take in the US session because you know, I wake up in the morning and I have it in my inbox and I can then just look at it. All right. So once you fill in all these details and select the reports that you want, you obviously just put in your email address at the bottom. Let me highlight that for all of you again. It's your email address at the bottom. Okay, and you click on save, and that says saving, that says loading, but it should actually say saving. I guess I should take that up with my tech department. And it just takes a few moments for all of that information to be saved. And once it's saved, we'll actually get a little window that confirms to us that our selection has been saved. And then what we'll do is we'll move on to actually looking at the contents of the report. Okay, so you can see the save button has come back again, and there's a little message at the top that says your settings have been saved. Okay, good. So now we're done with setting it up, and I hope I've explained a little bit of the background. And now what I'll do is I'll actually show you some of the contents of the reports. So here, interesting enough, are the contents to my New York Stock Exchange report, London, and Forex report, and I'll just quickly run through some of the contents of the email report itself. Of course, one thing that's very important to do once you subscribe to the report is make sure that your email is allowing alerts at autochartist.com as a valid sender, right? So sometimes we have users which are subscribing to the report and they're complaining to us they're not getting them, but because the reports are being sent into their spam or their trash or something like this. So please make sure that you whitelist alerts at autochartist.com, and then you're sure to get those emails. Okay. So at the top of the report, it tells me when, you know, obviously which report I'm actually looking at, the date on which it was actually produced, right? And then as I scroll down, I get certain information, all right? An image and some info. So for example, let's have a look at this example on Johnson & Johnson. Autochartist believes that Johnson & Johnson is still heading up to this resistance level at 73.38. Looks like Autochartist identified this quite a few days ago, all right, probably about 2 weeks ago, and we gave it that forecast, and it's still heading in that direction. Looks like it kind of reached it and bouncing back. So if you ask me, Ilan, would you still take this position? I would say probably not. right? But it's not for Autochartist to make the decision and to give you trading signals, right? Autochartist is simply there to show you what's happening in the market and things that it thinks you should be knowing about, right? In my opinion, Johnson & Johnson has probably bounced off that resistance level that Autochartist predicted, and maybe now we'll see a bit of a retracement. And if you think that the trend is going to continue, you know, we may expect a bit of a retracement and then a movement in that direction, or a retracement and then a continuation down to the support level down here. But of course you need to interpret the technical analysis as you wish. Similarly with Procter & Gamble, it looks like Autochartist identified this a few days ago, but it thinks it might still go up to 71. Not very much of a position that you can take on Procter & Gamble. AT&T is an interesting one though. So with AT&T, this example over here, Autochartist identified the breakout at this point over here, which was about 2 weeks ago as well. And you can see, maybe I should highlight this, the fact that this is a daily chart, right? These are end of day candles. So Autochartist predicted that and predicted a movement up to that level over there. It moved in the direction a little bit and actually came down to the support level that Autochartist provided, and actually are now bounced up again. So it's a very good question. Now it seems to be, this seems to be very strong support on AT&T. Let me draw that line for you. It seems to be quite a strong support line on AT&T, and it seems to be a bounce off again. So yes, there could be an opportunity for a long position on AT&T. And Autochartist, of course, gives you a forecast as to the direction and the number of days it thinks it's going to go up in that direction. Of course, it'll give you a target period and a stop period. All right. Let me move on. So now what I want to do is I want to show you the contents of the London Stock Exchange report. And Alice there's got actually a question about the market forecast can be related to the performance statistics, and definitely I will actually talk about that in just a second. I'll come back to the questions in just a moment. Okay, so this is the London Stock Market Report, and of course, again, it gives me the report name at the top, the time, right, at which the report was actually produced, and some forecasts, right? Again, same type of thing. BAE Systems. This is I actually found this to be quite an interesting pattern. It reached a peak potentially on its way down to 326 over the next 4 days. This is again daily candles. You'll actually find, interestingly enough, that the exchange traded reports, those reports like of stock markets around London, New York, NASDAQ, whatever it happens to be, are pretty much dominated by the longer term patterns, right? Like the end of day patterns, 4-hourly data patterns, whereas the Forex market reports are very much dominated by the short-term patterns. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this screen slightly bigger because I want to show you something that's occurred in this scenario with BAE Systems. With BAE Systems, we have two corresponding alerts from Autochartist, right? So we have one alert, BAE Systems down for the next 4 days based on daily data, and we have another one, BAE Systems down for the next 4 days based on 4-hourly data. Okay, if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see it actually tests 4-hourly data. Let me do that so I can show that to you. There it is, 4-hourly data. Right? Now, interestingly enough, they're both pointing to the same kind of level, not exactly the same level, but similar levels. So the daily is pointing BAE Systems down to 326.18, just above 326.18, and the 4-hourly is pointing it down to just below 326.18. The exact levels are actually marked over here, 327.88, and this one's 325. This is, if you know my trading styles and you've listened to my webinars in the past, you will know that this is the type of thing that I thrive on, these types of signals, where there are correlating signals on different time frames pointing to the same levels. This is certainly, if you were with a broker that offered some type of CFD you could go short on BA systems, or you could find a BA systems future, this is certainly something that I would consider trading on very aggressively. All right. So, so I think I'll leave it to that, and what I'll do is I'll actually show you the Forex report. I'm sure many of you out there are Forex traders. And as I said before, the Forex report is dominated very much by intraday alerts, although there are obviously many end-of-day alerts as well. So that's a Forex report generated at that time. Okay. One other thing that I should point out, actually, interestingly enough, we actually get many questions about what time zone are the reports in. Not the reports themselves, rather, but the actual data inside the reports. The answer is that, quite simple. The actual data inside the report really depends on the broker through which you have access to Autochartist, right? We have brokers which are in the US that offer Eastern Standard Time based data. We have brokers in Europe which offer a European Central Time data, and similarly in Asia. So it really all depends on your broker in terms of what time zone your data's in. You know, for a more accurate answer to that question, you can probably actually just go into your execution platform, whatever that happens to be, and where you actually trades from. You actually place your trades for the broker. Go into that platform, see what time zone those charts are in, and that you can pretty much rest assured that the Autochartist reports are in the same time zone as that. Okay, so interestingly enough, Euro USD, 4 hourly trading well within its range. Autochartist thinks it's going to go up to 34, so it thinks that the euro is going to strengthen for the next day or two, maybe only slightly. And this is interesting because we have I hope I can fit that all into my screen. Let me try and make my screen just even a little bit bigger. Okay, here we go. So we have Euro USD up for the next 2 days on 4 hourly data, and Euro USD up for the next 14 hours on 15-minute data. So again, the kind of thing I really like, correlating support and resistance levels and directions on multiple time intervals. This is something which I quite enjoy trading on. Another one for today that I quite like is this one, this USDCAD example, up for the next 7 days. It is a long-term play, so don't bet the bank on this one, because you might run out of margin if you are trading a heavily geared account. So it thinks that the US dollar is going to strengthen against the Canadian for the next few days. Certainly there's very strong support at that level at 0.98, and it's bounced off it twice now with a very strong direction long. I think if it breaks this $1 mark, which it has maybe a little bit further on, if it breaks this 1.06 mark, then it's potentially a good opportunity to go long. Of course, because that's a breakthrough, a very significant resistance level. And so I leave it to you to go through this report on a daily basis, subscribe to it. One thing, please rest assured, is that if you are not happy with the reports, it's very simple to unsubscribe. Once you get the report, there's a little message at the bottom that says, to unsubscribe from this email, click here. So you don't need to go into the report into Autochartist platform in order to unsubscribe, right? You can unsubscribe directly from this report, but please bear in mind that clicking on that link will unsubscribe you from the report you're currently on. Okay, so if you're subscribed to the New York Stock Exchange report London report and a Forex report, and you click on this link that says unsubscribe inside the Forex report, you'll only be unsubscribed from the Forex report. Okay, so just please bear that in mind. Okay, so you're not being unsubscribed from all the selected reports. Okay, so I got another question here. So the question came up: what exact times do you send these reports out? So I mentioned before, it's just before the opening of the different financial markets, but the exact times in terms of GMT is that the Asian report gets sent out at 11 p.m. GMT. That's the Asian report, and the European session gets sent out at 7 a.m. GMT, and the New York report gets sent out at 12 p.m. That's noon GMT. So that's just a bit more detail in terms of when those reports are actually being sent out. All right, so you will also notice one thing about the reports is that the reports don't offer very short-term signals. Okay, so when we compare it to the regular Autochartist application, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, you will see that there are many very short-term reports or short-term trading opportunities that have come up. For example, this opportunity on Swiss franc JPY, 15 minutes up for the next few candles, right? So these kind of opportunities wouldn't come up on the email reports. The reason being is that email sometimes does not get, people don't monitor emails on a minute-by-minute basis, right? So, well, some people do. Certainly the younger people in the crowd are obsessed with their cell phones, right? And don't let go of their cell phones. And every time there's a beep or a buzz, they're checking their emails. But many of us, older generation, certainly 40s and over, don't check their emails every few minutes, and we check our emails every few hours. So what we've tried to do in the email reports is provide a forecast on the markets which is longer than just a few minutes, right? So you will find that the reports contain forecasts which range pretty much from around 8 to 10 hours through to, at the lower end, 8 to 10 hour forecasts, through to about 24 to 48 hours on the longest forecasts. So you won't really see many very short-term trading opportunities on those email reports. If you want short-term trading opportunities, then obviously we encourage you to log into the Autochartist platform directly and actually look at the results directly in the Autochartist platform, like I'm doing right now on the screen. Now, there was a question about the performance statistics and how those relate to the reports. So the performance statistics relate directly to the report in the same way that they relate to the trading opportunities found on the Autochartist platform. So if we, for example, let's just take an example, Euro USD. Okay, interesting. So here we go. Here is an example on Euro USD, 60-minute. It's an emerging, approaching key level, right? 60-minute, long, approaching key level, right, on Euro USD. What you can do is you can go into the performance statistics section, click, if you select the Forex line item, and that's an approaching key level. Let me highlight that. Approaching key level on Forex, and you click on view. So we're looking at the Euro USD opportunity there. We can then go ahead and find Euro USD in here. We can see that for Euro USD on approaching key levels, Autochartist hits its forecast level around 76% of the time, which is a pretty good hit rate, right? But now that was on 60-minute candles, right? So we can see that on 60-minute candles, it was 73% hit rate. Okay, so very good hit rate. Again, that was bullish, right, tending towards resistance, 75% hit rate. So overall, it looks like, you know, there's a certainly over 70% chance of that opportunity, of this opportunity. Let me just quickly zip back to that opportunity, of this opportunity actually hitting its resistance level, right? So this is a, you know, potentially a good trade to take, go long on Euro USD. Now, in the same way that one would analyze this this trading opportunity on its own merit, one could do the same with the trading opportunities on the market reports, right? Obviously, it takes a bit of time, but I can tell you that in the very near future, I'm hoping in the next month or two, the statistics are going to be completely integrated into the report itself. So along with the summary of the targets and the periods and the stop levels, you're actually going to get some information in this little empty space over here where we've actually done the work for you and taken all the information from the performance stats reports such as these and actually integrated directly into this opportunity and let you know what approximate probability, historical performance probability was of that. Obviously, historical performance, I need to tell you from a legal perspective, is not indicative of future performance, right? But certainly it would you would gauge the value of the opportunity. So Alistair, I hope I have answered your question with regards to the performance statistics. What would you have to? Okay, so Randy's asked a question in terms of how we measure performance. Performance is actually independent of profit or loss, right? So I need to explain to you the reason I say that, why it's independent of profit or loss. Now, a trading strategy, right, has got a lot more to do, has got a lot more other things involved other than just an opening position and a closing position. For example, there is how much money you placed in the trade, what stop levels and what stop strategy you've actually placed on a trade. And there's many, many different types of trading styles out there. And at Autochartist, we had to derive a method of calculating statistics which is really independent of the trading style, of your trading style, certainly your exit style. Okay, so for example, some people may set their, if they want to take this position long over here that I was talking about now, you may set your stop loss to be over here. Some people may set their stop loss to be here. Other people may set a trailing stop, right, that just keeps moving up. Some people may set an exit. If we talk about exit, some people may take an exit at the level we've provided. Other people may say, you know what, this is a very big move. I'm not going to take that exit. I'm going to just take an exit at this level here. I'm happy to just make a few pips instead of many pips. So it was a huge challenge for us to work out a methodology of working out Autochartist probabilities, which is independent of actual profit and loss made, that doesn't actually marry us to a type of trading strategy or stop loss and take profit strategy. So all we do to measure Autochartist probabilities is we measure what percentage of the time we hit our forecast region. Okay, so that means, again, what percentage of the time does this forecast, once you've given this arrow, hit its forecast region within a certain amount of time. Okay. Now, note as well that there are certain types of forecasts that we provide where we don't actually give a forecast region. For example, emerging chart patterns, right? We don't actually give a forecast price, right? In this situation, we don't give a forecast price because it's a moving target. Okay, so we don't provide a forecast price. In fact, we only provide a forecast price for completed chart patterns, breakout key levels, and approaching key levels, right? And in fact, me personally, because of that, those are the only trade opportunities that I actually look at from Autochartist because of that reason, because I have a very analytical view of the market, and I believe that the proof is in the pudding, really, to be completely honest with you. And so I don't trade unknowns, all right? So my Autochartist screen is always set to just looking at completed chart patterns or completed and emerging key levels. And you will see that that's exactly why we only have 3 columns over here: completed chart patterns, breakout key levels, and approaching key levels. And you don't see other columns, for example, emerging chart patterns. Okay, and so this is how we measure our success rate. It's, again, I'll just highlight it to you. It's when we produce a forecast, we check how often does the forecast reach its forecast region, right? The target level that we've provided in the situation over here. Right? So I hope I've answered that question. So there isn't really a point of a loss. It's more about what is profitable. The time frame, thank you, thanks, good question, Randy. What is the time frame? The time frame is 1 pattern length. Okay, so in this example, GBP odd is 98 length, 98 15-minute candles. So we would allow this this result 98, however long that is, 98 15-minute candles to hit its target region. Okay, so I hope I've made that clear. And I guess that's the end of the session. I certainly went on longer than I initially thought I would. Ended up to be a half hour, more than a half hour webinar. I trust all of you had enjoyed this webinar. Again, if there are any questions, please email support@autochartist.com, and I will get our marketing team to put this webinar online in the next day or two, and they will blast out an email to everyone that's registered if you want to watch this webinar again. Thank you very much to everybody. And if there's, again, reports that you want, changes in the translations that you think that you recommend, please, we love hearing from you. We love working with our community. It's a brand new feature. We want to hear your comments about it. So please feel free to email